Welcome back to Chat Like a Native. You know, it's this really common feeling, right? You've put in the hours, learned the English grammar, you can understand pretty much everything.
Oh, yeah. You read articles, watch shows, no problem.
Exactly, but then you need to actually speak, and it's like, freeze.
Total freeze.
Yeah.
That's the classic passive knowledge trap, isn't it? Inside your head, it feels like it's all there, but when you open your mouth, there's that gap, that hesitation.
And your brain just defaults to translating from your native language word by painful word.
Which kills fluency instantly. So today we're doing a deep dive into something really practical we found, a simple technique you can do yourself.
Right, no partner needed, no class. Something to actually bridge that gap and build real speaking stamina.
We're unpacking what's called a 5-minute monologue drill. And look, this isn't just, random talking. It's a focused exercise, like a sprint.
A sprint, I like that.
Yeah, because the goal is specific. Switch your brain off translation mode, force it to start thinking directly in English. That's the mission here. Get you into the flow.
Okay, yeah, sprint makes sense because often the issue isn't not knowing words, it's the lack of practice doing it in real time, under a bit of pressure.
Precisely. We know the theory, but we haven't done the reps.
Yeah.
So think of this drill as like high-intensity interval training, but for your speaking skills.
Okay.
You pick one topic, set a timer for 5 minutes, and you just talk continuously.
5 whole minutes, no stopping.
No stopping. No pausing to translate in your head. No editing yourself constantly. The aim is flow. Imperfect, maybe, but continuous flow, not perfection.
But why 5 minutes? Why that specific number? Seems a bit arbitrary. Wouldn't more be better if you're advanced?
It sounds it, but that 5 minutes is actually pretty crucial. It's about cognitive load.
Well.
When you're translating, you're juggling 2 languages, it completely overloads your working memory.
Ah, okay.
5 minutes is sort of the sweet spot. It's long enough to put real pressure on your brain, forcing it to find shortcuts, to bypass the translation step. That's how you build automaticity.
Automaticity.
Yeah.
Like muscle memory for speaking.
Exactly like muscle memory. Think about learning an instrument or a sport. You drill short and intense bursts until it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
This is the same idea. Short, daily sprints build that unconscious retrieval. If you only practice speaking for an hour once a week, your brain treats it like a performance. It never becomes automatic.
So the pressure actually helps. It stops you from overthinking and forces you to just produce language.
It does. It builds endurance, too. So longer conversations start to feel less draining.
Okay, but I can imagine just hitting record and rambling. You said it needs structure.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just noise, not practice. We break it down into 4 distinct stages. Think of it like a structured workout.
Got it. Stage 1.
Stage 1 is your warm-up. Just 1 minute. Pick a simple topic, nothing too philosophical, maybe my favorite weekend activity, or a problem I solved recently. Keep it concrete.
Okay, simple topic. What's the key action in that minute before I start talking?
The key is thinking about chunks. Before you start the main timer, quickly jot down or just think of 3 or 4 phrases, like little building blocks you plan to use.
Chunks? You mean like idioms?
Or more like functional phrases, things like, in my experience, or what I mean is, or it reminds me of, raw. Preloading these helps you connect ideas smoothly later. It gets your brain thinking in phrases, not single words.
Okay, that makes sense. It sets you up for stage 2, the speaking. 3 minutes, right?
3 minutes is the core rule. Don't stop. Don't translate.
But what if I totally blank on a word? It happens all the time.
The moment of truth. That's where the real practice kicks in. You don't stop. You don't switch to your native language to find the word. You describe it.
Describe it, like how?
Say you forget the word remote control. You keep talking. You say, I need the thing, the plastic thing you use to change the TV channel.
Okay. But wouldn't that feel super awkward? Like I'm failing?
It might feel awkward at first, but think about what you just did. You encountered a problem and you solved it entirely in English. You kept the communication flowing. That's a win. It trains your brain to be resourceful within English.
Right, so the goal isn't perfect sentences, it's maintaining forward momentum, using English to solve English problems.
Exactly. Flow over perfection. Every single time in this drill, you're building resilience against those mental blocks.
Okay, I get it. That mindset shift is huge. So 3 minutes of that, then what?
Then comes stage 3, the wrap-up. Just 30 seconds. This is about practicing how to end your thoughts cleanly. Super important for meetings or presentations, right?
Definitely. Nothing worse than just trailing off.
Exactly. So you practice using closing chunks. So basically that's my take on it, or to sum up. Or overall, the main point is just practicing landing the plane smoothly.
30 seconds for that. And the final stage.
Stage 4, reflect and review. Also just 30 seconds, but maybe the most important 30 seconds. As soon as you stop recording, you need to quickly assess.
How? What do I look for?
Be honest. What words did you stumble on? What chunks did you manage to use naturally? Where did you hesitate the most? Jot it down or even just say it out loud.
So immediate feedback for yourself.
Yes. This turns the 5 minutes from just talking into actual measurable learning. You know exactly what vocabulary or phrases you need to look up or practice next time. It closes the loop.
Let's go back to those chunks you mentioned in the warm-up. You called them pre-built highways. Can we dig into that a bit more? How does focusing on chunks help beyond just sounding smoother?
Well, chunking is basically how native speakers operate most of the time. We don't consciously assemble sentences using grammar rules constantly. It's too slow, too much mental energy.
Yeah.
We rely heavily on these prefabricated blocks of language, phrasal verbs, collocations, common expressions. Think about it. You don't construct, it is necessary for us to commence the meeting. You just grab the chunk. Okay, let's get started.
It's more efficient, less load on the brain.
Exactly. It frees up your cognitive resources, which is crucial when you're already fighting the urge to translate. So the practical step is to actively collect chunks.
Collect them from where?
From things you read, shows you watch, conversations you hear. But don't just make random lists. Group them by their function.
Function, like.
Like chunks for agreeing. That's a good point. I see what you mean. Chunks for disagreeing politely. I see it a bit differently, on the other hand. Chunks for explaining. The reason is that, basically,
Okay, categorize them. Then what?
then, during your 3-minute speaking stage, you consciously try to use them. Force yourself to stitch your ideas together using these functional chunks instead of just pausing or using simple conjunctions.
Yeah.
It builds fluency pathways.
That makes it very actionable. Okay, now, the big enemy. That mental translation habit. How does this drill actively retrain the brain away from that?
It's a conscious effort during the drill. It
Yeah.
starts with visualization. When you talk about something, say, coffee, you need to actively stop yourself from thinking the word in your native language first.
So what do we do instead?
You picture it, see the mug, smell the aroma, feel the warmth. You connect the concept, the sensory experience, directly to the English word coffee. Cut out the middleman, your native language.
Create a direct link. Concept to English word.
Precisely. We're rewiring that ingrained habit. And another key part is managing those moments when you do need to pause and think. We all do it.
Yeah, the ums and us.
Right, but you must use English fillers. Train yourself to say, actually, like, let me see. Instead of defaulting to fillers from your native language, use English even for the pauses.
Okay, that makes sense. Keep everything within the target language. Now, listening back to yourself. That can feel a bit cringy sometimes. How do you handle the anxiety of hearing your own mistakes?
Ah, yes. The mindset piece again. You have to adopt a specific mantra. I'm not performing. I'm practicing flow. Say to yourself.
Practice, not performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Performance invites judgment. Practice implies improvement, iteration. If you start judging yourself harshly, your anxiety goes up, your brain shuts down. Treat the recording like data collection for improvement, not an audition tape.
And the good news is, you don't need another person for this data collection. Technology can be your coach.
Totally. Your phone's voice recorder is your best friend here. Or use apps like Otter.ai or Nata. They transcribe as you speak.
Why is listening back or seeing the transcript so powerful?
Because it's objective, brutally honest sometimes. You'll hear those awkward pauses you didn't realize were so long. You'll see the filler words you overuse. You'll notice where your voice maybe lacked confidence. It's invaluable private feedback.
And you mentioned using dictation tools, too.
Yeah, like the voice typing in Google Docs or similar tools. Speak into it. If the software struggles to understand a word you thought you pronounced clearly, well, that's instant feedback on your articulation or pronunciation, much faster than waiting for a teacher.
Okay, so we've got the structure, the mindset, the tools. How do we make sure this skill actually works out in the real world? Should the topics always be simple?
Great question. Once you're comfortable with the basic drill, you need to start simulating real-life situations. Don't just talk about your day, simulate a specific task.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, for work, pretend you have to explain a technical issue. Okay, the reason the website was slow is because the database server, it was overloaded due to a query that, gets specific.
Or maybe explaining a project update.
Perfect.
Right.
Or simulate a social or travel scenario. Describe trying to explain a complicated flight itinerary to an agent. Hi, I need to book a flight, but there's a specific layover requirement.
I need to make sure my bags are checked through, and I need info on hotels near the airport in Paris. Something like that.
Exactly. These scenarios force you to use practical, functional language explaining, requesting, clarifying. It builds reflexes you'll actually use.
And this leads to another key idea for making progress stick, right? Topic recycling.
Yes. Crucial for long-term growth. Don't just do a topic once and forget it.
So what's the cycle?
You do your 5-minute monologue, you listen back, you use the reflect stage to note down, say, 3 words you struggled with, and maybe a chunk you wanted to use but didn't. You go learn them. Then, maybe 2 or 3 days later,
You do the same topic again.
the exact same topic. But this time, you consciously try to use that new vocabulary, those new chunks. It reinforces the learning like crazy. And it feels great because you can literally hear the improvement. It builds huge confidence.
That makes so much sense. Visible progress. And finally, making this a real habit. Consistency.
Consistency trumps intensity. Every time. 5 focused minutes every day is far, far more effective than trying to do an hour once a week.
How do you make it stick?
Piggyback it onto an existing routine. Right after you brush your teeth, before you check email, during your commute if you're alone, find that 5-minute slot and guard it. Make it automatic. That daily practice is what rewires the brain.
Okay, so this whole 5-minute monologue drill, it sounds deceptively simple, but when you break it down, it's a really robust way to take control of your own fluency.
It really is. It pushes you from just knowing English passively to actively using it. Building that independence is key. Fluency isn't just about rules. It's about performance, about flow.
And you mentioned there's even a way to combine this with another technique for like a turbo boost.
Yeah, for those who want to push it further, combine the monologue with shadowing.
Shadowing, repeating what you hear.
Exactly. Find a short audio clip of a native speaker, maybe 60 seconds. Listen and repeat right after them, mimicking their intonation and rhythm. Shadow it a couple of times, then immediately launch into your 5-minute monologue on the same topic as the clip.
Wow, okay. So you prime your brain with the sounds and flow, then immediately try to produce related language yourself.
It's a powerful combo. Sharpens listening and speaking together.
That's a fantastic challenge. Okay, so if fluency really starts when English becomes the language of your thoughts, what's a final thought for our listeners to take away?
Here's a little challenge, a provocation. Pick one simple, everyday object you see or use all the time. Your keys, your coffee mug, the door handle. Just one.
Okay.
And from this moment on, make a conscious decision to only think about and label that specific object in English. When you see it, don't let the native word pop into your head. Only the English word, maybe even visualize the letters. Start making that direct mental connection right now with just one thing.
That's a great, simple starting point to build that thinking and English habit. Love it. All right, your mission, should you choose to accept it. Set that timer, pick a simple topic, and hit record. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Go practice your flow.